days early, and then a $1,500 direct deposit. I was like, fuck yes! And going on a double date
Nice.
back to Epic Universe again on Monday with my best friend and his girl. So that'll be great. Excited. Good month so far. And
Nice.
TikTok should not be getting shut down on the 5th, by the way, gentlemen. Trump already said they've announced they have kind of like a beginnings of a deal in place to sell the American side of TikTok to Oracle. Uh, they're a shit company, but we'll see how that goes. But he says that he
Yeah.
will be extending the ban past April 5th, most likely.
Okay. Right.
All right, you guys, let's get started. Everyone go on mute. Por favor. All right, what's happening, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for the Snug Wrestling Podcast. I am Edgar. I am your host. With me, like always, the crew, Mr. Blood, Toxic, Tommy, and BT Knight. And we're going to do Smackdown. We're going to go over the important things of Smackdown, just a couple things, because right after this episode, we're also going to be recording the Jey Uso and Gunther, how we can make this feud more interesting going into WrestleMania. So let's get started on Friday Night SmackDown first, fellas. What is going on? Happy Friday. How's everyone doing today?
Awesome, man. Happy to be here, as always.
Right on. Let's get started off with the contract signing that we saw on Friday Night SmackDown. Let's start off hot. While it's still fresh in our heads, the contract signing is for the triple threat match between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And it's official. They have announced that this match will main event WrestleMania. One of the nights, most likely night one. And what a moment it was during the contract signing when that was announced. CM Punk got really emotional. This whole contract signing wasn't your typical contract signing that everyone just ends up fighting each other. Someone gets put through a table. It was way more intense than that. It was way more. It meant a lot more than your typical contract sign-in because of the fact that CM Punk has been waiting for this for years to main event WrestleMania, and it finally happened. Paul Heyman was there, and I can't even make I can't put words to this. This was really great the way that they did this. From the beginning when Roman Reigns came out. And then Roman Reigns got interrupted by Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, both of these guys, they have a lot of history together. They go way back to the Shield, and they have a lot of love and hate throughout the years. It's been this story between Roman and Seth goes back over a decade, and Roman Reigns, he feels like he's the one that's putting WWE on the map. He's the one that changed the game in pro wrestling. And Seth Rollins feels like, hey, you got this big ego, and I'm here to always clean up the mess that you're causing. So Seth Rollins, he has a lot of issues with Roman. Then CM Punk comes out. CM Punk, since he's been in the WWE, Seth Rollins has had issues with him. And Seth Rollins blames Roman for CM Punk being allowed in the WWE. Then you have Paul Heyman, who's between Roman and CM Punk. I can't do this justice, but man, what a contract signing this was. I'm really looking forward to the match. But the favor, when CM Punk was going to sign the contract, he was reading through the contract, which usually no one reads a contract during these things. They just sign it. But CM Punk was reading it, and Paul Heyman said, it's in there. You're going to main event. But I thought he was looking for the favor. The fact that CM Punk is main eventing WrestleMania is not actually the favor. So what is the favor? But let's get into it. Mr. Blood, you go first. What did you think about the contract signing? And what do you think the favor is here?
All right, so you're actually the one giving me the rundown on the contract signing. I've yet to get to witness it.
Mm.
I didn't watch SmackDown live, and the clips were not uploaded on their YouTube yet. I will be watching it to experience it in its fullness after we get off of this later on tonight. However, based on what you told me, I can speak to it to the point of I was begging for this. Just like me, Snug, massive Punk stands. Like today, like back there is the only AEW CM Punk figure ever released, ever. And they never sold it in stores because they released it after he left the company, and they only released it online. So if you want that, you have to buy that online for way more than you pay for in store just to own it. That's how big of a fan I am, and I've never taken it out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this, if you're a Punk fan, this doesn't just mean obviously it means the most to Punk. He chased this. He clamored for this. It was a huge point of his burnt out contention all those years ago. Was the truth was he was a top guy who they just didn't book like a top guy. He had some top main event feuds back in the day when he was champion, but they always made him the background in other people's stories, even as the fucking champion. You know, they tried to overshadow him with Kevin Nash. They tried to overshadow him with Triple H. They tried to overshadow him, with the Shield. Like they were always using him to bring other people up. They tried to, make Brock more important than CM Punk. Like no matter where he was in his career, even though he was at the height of his popularity, he might have been probably the most over guy in the company at all times, next to Daniel Bryan back then. But he was playing second fiddle to The Rock and Cena, right? I mean, he had to lose his title at the time, the longest championship reign of the modern era back then. He had to lose and drop that title to The Rock at what was it, Elimination Chamber back then? Okay, a guy who came back part time, he had to drop it at the pay per view before the biggest pay per view of the year, just so Rock and Cena never in a once in a lifetime happened twice in a lifetime, and he had to drop it a month prior to the largest show of the year. I can understand that frustration as a viewer. I couldn't imagine the frustration he must have felt back then, working his ass off to have to forfeit a chance to be a main eventer, forfeit the chance to be the champion to a guy who came back for a cup of coffee and left again. And to see him get that moment as a fucking unapologetic super fan of Punk that I am. My ringtone, for Christ's sakes, is Cult of Personality. And the emotions he must have felt tonight, I can only imagine. Punk is a man of many words. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine having to, all the years he must have imagined getting to say he was in the main event, getting to promo that feeling across. No amount of prep or running over what he might say earlier in the night probably could have ever prepared him for actually being out there, getting to finally say it as it is set in stone. Mm-hmm. And the history there is so beautiful. This match, this is one of those matches that people talk about when they say, you do not need a title for this feud. No title is going to make this feud better. This feud is so perfect because there's so much emotion built in, so much stock from the fans built in, and not just over a couple months feud. Years here, people. Years. Between the history of the Shield, between Seth and Roman. The history of Punk bringing the Shield onto the main roster. So between him and Roman, because he never wanted Roman, he wanted Chris Hero. So there's that resentment from Roman always knowing that Punk never wanted him there. He only wanted Moxley and Seth. Then obviously the history between Seth and Punk that goes all the way back to Punk trying to train a young Colby, but not having the money to go through training. And that resentment that Seth feels when Punk left initially. He said, we were friends all the way up until he left, and then he ghosted me. So there's that hurt there. This is the perfect blend of kayfabe and shoot. Because a lot of real animosity exists among these three guys. Obviously, Seth and Roman are very close in real life. We know that. However, there is a real professional jealousy there. And I think Exactly. Who's the best? Who's on top? And I think because Seth was the workhorse of the Shield, there's a part of him where it must sting that the guy that him and at the time Dean Ambrose were tasked with protecting his shortcomings in the ring and his inferiority in the ring is the guy that has surpassed him as the top billed guy in the company, the face of the company, the longest reigning champion of the last 20, 30 some odd years, is the guy that his job was to make sure looked good. And I think that there's a part of you that's got to resent Roman for that. You were only here because I covered all of your shortcomings, all of your inadequacies, how green you were. You were not nowhere on my level when we stepped through NXT, let alone the main roster. But here you are, the highest paid, the biggest title win, all the record-holding main events. Okay, he now, as of last year, Roman holds the record for the most WrestleMania main events of all time. And here's Seth, the guy who's been a champion of the company, a company guy through and through. Period. Never stopped, never left, never went away for sickness. Not Roman's fault, but still, never went away. Even on injury, he would still be there just to cut promos with a fucking destroyed knee last year. Still there to cut promos and wrestle with a blown out meniscus. 2 nights at WrestleMania on a blown out knee. And here's two guys that are both billed higher than you, paid more than you, and get more fanfare than you. So this match feels, in my opinion, this is the most important match to me this Mania because it has, at this point, 13 years of story built in. To me, this is the most emotional match of the entire Mania weekend, and I am so ready for it. This will be the match that I scream at the top of my lungs for. I am so happy for this fucking match.
Yeah, and you're gonna get more hyped as soon as you see the clip because CM Punk got
Can't
really
wait. I'm
emotional.
excited.
He got really
I'm
emotional.
excited.
He got teary eyed, and then he got to share the moment with Paul Heyman, which was lovely. Seth Rollins had the best reaction to it. He was not happy. No, he does. CM Punk does not deserve to main event WrestleMania, which was, I thought, just adds more to the feud. But Toxic, let's hear from you. What you got? What are your thoughts about this?
Um, I enjoyed it every single second of it. Punk deserves every single second of it. As much as Rollins wants to complain that he doesn't, he does. Um, I don't understand why Punk goes from hating Roman like before the contract signing, even though Roman put the match in the main event of WrestleMania. But I don't know why he would just get on one knee. Sorry, Blood, I'm spoiling it for you. Uh, get on one knee and just acknowledge Roman. I don't get it.
Yeah, that was. But I think CM Punk did that kind of like sarcastically. I don't think he really actually did it to, because he was like, "Oh, Roman, oh, I'm your bitch." No, it was more like kind of like, "All right, Roman, I'll feed your ego" type thing,
Mhm.
you know.
And I gotta agree with you, Snug. Seth Rollins. Fuck English. Seth Rollins' reaction has got to be the best reaction out of this entire thing, and Roman rushing Punk. Sorry, Blood. Once again, I'm spoiling. Roman rushing Punk was the funniest thing ever. This contract signing wasn't just a contract signing. It was story packed. It was funny. It was emotional. It was everything you want to say it is, except for bad. That's the only word that you can't describe this contract signing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing that CM Punk said is, "Oh, this match being the main event, this is not the favor." And then we go off air. So we still have more things to unpack here, fellas. Tommy, let's hear from you. What do you got?
I love this. I really do. Because I think I know what the true favor is. And if this is the actual favor, Mania is going to hurt like a bitch.
All right, let's hear it.
Cena wins at Mania. And I think what the favor is after Cena wins at Mania and gets the title, gets his historic 17, we are getting Punk versus Cena for the title. We're running that back.
Mm.
And if that actually happens, either way, this sucker is going to go on a ride. This is going to be a 2-night ride. And I know what BT is going to say, one of the big things. And he hates it mainly because of the fact that what the fuck is the point of the Rumble with them main eventing? Because of the fact that in Roman's contract, it says that he either opens or closes. But with something this big, this massive, starting off would be extremely ballsy, especially for night one. Because let's be honest, this match is not going to be main event night 2. It's not. That's going to say that. For sure. But this triple threat has to main event night 1. And I also do love the fact that CM Punk, and you can tell by the look on Roman's face, he hated one of the names that CM Punk called him. It's like, my tribal chief, the owner of the Ulafala. He goes quiet. Big dog?
Mm-hmm.
Calling back to one of Roman's old gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love how that happened. But overall, CM Punk absolutely deserves this main event spot. As it's already been said, he has been waiting and fighting for this for years. And I'm pretty sure that Triple H is just throwing him a bone with this because of the fact that his entire career, he has been pushed to the side for literally everyone else by Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. Cena, Rock, Stone Cold at one point. He has been pushed to the side for absolutely everyone. At this point, main event is where he deserves to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things happening in this contract signing, which, man, like, it just makes you think about all these things, like the history. They brought back stuff from the Shield. Paul Heyman was CM Punk's manager at one point. Now he's managing Roman. So there's still a lot of love for Paul Heyman has for CM Punk. So they have that going on. But then you have Seth and Punk who have their history, and then you have Seth and Roman that have their own history, and it's everything just coming together in one big major WrestleMania main event match, and it's pretty fucking amazing.
And the
just
ending
even saying it.
thing too. The fact that the way it went is he goes from praising Roman, mic in hand, right after signing it, and just goes, thanks for all of this, but this isn't the favor I'm owed. Mic drop, leaves. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. I bet it is. BT, well, let's hear you.
All right. CM Punk deserves this main event. I've come to that conclusion now. Okay? He deserves it. Congratulations to him. The thing that pisses me off is I just wish that Jey Uso versus Gunther was booked better so that people could care more. That's all. That's the only criticism that I have. Because Jey fully deserved to main event WrestleMania. He fully deserved it. And I know his name is Main Event Jey Uso, so why not capitalize on it? Like, not just Main Event Monday Night Raw to win the IC title, Main Event WrestleMania to win the World Heavyweight Championship. You know what I mean? And Tommy, you said that this story is very important, right? And it's criminal to have it open night one of WrestleMania, okay? I know WrestleMania is one of the biggest PLEs of the year, okay? I totally understand that. But I find it hypocritical how you say that. And then you look back at Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk opening a Bad Blood when they had a blood feud, but it gets overshadowed by Roman and Cody. And then a pointless Rock return that nobody gives a fuck about. So I find that hypocritical. That's all. But overall, what is the point of the Royal Rumble anymore? This is not the only time that this has happened where a Royal Rumble winner doesn't even main event WrestleMania anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking pointless. I'm just sick and tired of us saying that we want new superstars to be pushed. We are fine with Tiffany going up against a legend in Charlotte Flair. Even though I can't fucking stand her. But a legend nonetheless in Charlotte Flair. And giving her a world title. But we're not going to give it to Jey because we prefer Roman. And we want to point out that without Roman, this company would be in shambles. Like, really? And then not only that, they prefer Jimmy more because he's hilarious. Nevertheless, though, he's had the most horrendous booking behind him. I mean, a discombobulating heel turn at SummerSlam in Detroit, costing his own brother a championship. But, look, I just wish that the Jey and Gunther feud was booked. Actually, I think the booking is fine. I just wish that there were more people that care about the story behind it instead of who deserves titles more. Like, that's my number one criticism about it, okay? But those are my thoughts about it. This segment was amazing nonetheless. Punk deserves it.
Yeah, go
ahead. So, BT, completely understand where you're coming from as far as I do completely understand why you would feel the Royal Rumble is pointless. The entire tagline of winning the Rumble is the winner will go on to main event at WrestleMania for an opportunity of a world title of their choosing. You are 100% correct that it rendered that point of the main event pointless. I agree. I validate how you feel. I don't think anybody here disagrees with that winning the Royal Rumble is supposed to garner you a main event. And you're right, this is not the only time it's happened. It happened to Asuka. In fair recent memory, it happened to Asuka, Shinsuke Nakamura, because there were bigger stars that sold bigger, more seats. They were bigger build stars in the marquee. But the problem here is that you're right in saying that if the booking for Jey and Gunther had been better, they might have gone with them in the main event, but I don't think they would have. And I'll tell you why. Because no matter what story they could have possibly told with Jey and Gunther, no matter how over Jey is, Jey will never, and Gunther will never combined ever come close to being as over as Seth, Punk and Roman standing in a ring together at the same time on the biggest show of the year for a feud that has been interwoven for 13 years of storytelling. Jay's rise to prominence is within the last 4 years, respectively. And I say again, 2 of those years, he wasn't even being as appreciated as he should have been up until the Cody stuff really started kicking off. And then his character work really started moving when Sammy got involved. Before that, he was just background noise to Roman. But when it comes to it, the bloodline stuff started with Jay and Roman. And it may still very much well come back full circle to Jay later in time when Jay is possibly crowned the head of the table at some point. I still think that story thread is going to be there because I don't think he wins the title at Mania just to not be challenged by Solo or Roman later down the line. I feel like you have to tell those stories if he wins, beats Gunther. But they gave him his moment in the Sun at Mania or at the Rumble. He's going to get his moment in the Sun at Mania in his first ever world title match on the biggest stage of them all. And keep in mind, they have given Jay his flowers. He has main evented Mania before. So it's not like they haven't been giving him his time to shine. But whereas he's gotten a main event Mania, CM Punk's waited years, years and years. Punk has waited for a main event spot at Mania longer than Jay and Jimmy have been even remotely remembered back in the early 2010s. Back in like 2009 and 10 when they were still doing the Haka entrance, CM Punk had already been a world champion who didn't get to main event. So it comes down to Punk's level of earned patience and his deservedness of this, in my opinion, outweighs the Jay and Gunther match. But I do 100% validate what you're saying on the booking, affecting the positioning. And I do validate what you're saying when you're talking about he should have main evented. Otherwise, why even sell that as a point in the Rumble? I completely agree with you.
No, yeah, me too. BT, you are absolutely right. Now that we know that CM Punk, Roman, and Seth, the triple threat match is going to main event WrestleMania, I mean, it's almost certain that Cody Rhodes and John Cena are going to main event the other one, right? I mean, could John Cena and Cody say, you know what? Let's give Jey Uso his moment. Maybe. That's still a possibility. I don't think that's the case, but the problem is that WWE has too many fucking stars. Like, just today, we saw Cody come out, huge pop. We saw Randy come out, huge pop. We saw Drew McIntyre come out, huge pop. There's so many people that are just over right now in the WWE, and that's like kind of like a gift and a curse. Like, yes,
it's a great problem to have.
It is. It really is. Jey Uso's deserving. You know, he should main event WrestleMania for a singles title, but Jey
and keep in mind, they haven't announced that he won't. They haven't said that he won't yet. I mean, they could still make him main event night too. Because they advertise that for the Rumble. It's still possible that Cody Cena goes on second to last or first on night one.
But I don't
the World Heavyweight Championship match opened night 2 last year. It's possible.
It is. I mean, you're right. You're right. It's possible. But if it doesn't happen like that, let's be honest. Jey Uso and Gunther, they don't have the same history that the triple threat match does or that John Cena and Cody do. So it's like, it's kind of understandable, but also it's kind of exciting at the same time. But I had one more question about this this whole contract signing thing. I guess this is mostly, well, I want to hear what everyone else thinks, but mostly you, Mr. Blood, because I feel like me and you are probably the biggest CM Punk fans out of all of us. now that CM Punk is going to main event WrestleMania, he's involved in this great feud, great story, lots of history. Is this really how you or what you were expecting for CM Punk to main event a WrestleMania in this situation or in a situation like this? Because I always pictured it, if it was going to happen, I always pictured it. I thought it was going to be for a world title or a
Yeah,
championship
I
title
mean,
in a singles match, one on one.
I don't disagree with that. I always thought if he was going to main event, it was going to be for a prize, like what Toxic's holding up for a title, for a beautiful, gorgeous championship. To have him go out and win with his hands fucking raised, I always thought that that would be it. And um, but you know what? Again, the title doesn't make the man makes the title. And in this case, this story is so big, it doesn't need a title. Remember John Cena versus The Rock won. It didn't need a championship. But for some reason, they felt like, well, if we run it back, it needs a title because it's not as special as the first time. But this, again, this is a first time ever triple threat between these three. It doesn't need a championship. And it'll be just as big and just as bold. And it's going to be emotional, car wreck, violent. I mean, it's a no DQ, by the way, because it's a triple threat. Okay. We're going to have stairs and chairs and probably curb stomps on announcer tables. It's good. And there's probably going to be some blood. I think this match, I think a title, in my opinion, would water down the reason these three are facing off. I think that a title would hurt this match. This match isn't about trinkets and gold. This match is literally about who of us is better. And we all can't stand each other, but which one of our wills, our styles, our skill sets, which one of us three is really the best in the world? CM Punk self-proclaimed, the secondary self-proclaimed in Seth Rollins, or Mr. God mode Roman Reigns with the longest world championship run of the last 25, 30 years. They all have a claim, a legitimate claim to who really is the best out of the three of them. Which one of them is really responsible for the success of WWE? Because it comes back to, is it Cody for helping create AEW, creating the competition that launched this new boom period? Is it his return? Is it Seth for being the company man, championing it on his back for so many years and never giving up? Is it Roman for the bloodline story, for changing the game, making it the most important story told in the last 30 years of professional wrestling? Because anything that they did in the original bloodline story trumps any story we got told in the Attitude Era by far. So, in my opinion, this is not about, it's not about a title. It's about, well, it's about a title and it's not. It's about a title, but it's not a championship title. It's about who really is the best, the title of who. And I think I think Punk has to win. I
Well,
think Punk has to win.
we'll do a prediction episode at some
Yeah.
point because that's a
Well,
whole
that's how
nother
I'm.
topic of conversation.
That's how I'm ending. But I'm saying, if you really want this match to be as feel good, close the book on it. Let's move on. We told the story. This is earned and deserved. You know, the best ending possible is that Punk not only finally got that main event, but he fucking won the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the real story here. It's not just his main event. It's not just Seth's hatred. It's not just Roman's need to keep himself validated. It's whoever walks out really gets to say, I am the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be Punk.
Go ahead, Tommy. Final thoughts.
My final thought here is extremely simple. B, as much as I agree with you, man, and I do, this type of situation does kind of make the Rumble feel almost a little bit pointless. Everything's been said here, and everything that has been said is full blown facts. These three go back years. CM Punk has been passed up by both of them. CM Punk has also never main evented WrestleMania. Ever. Jay, as much as I would love him to main event this year, he did main event WrestleMania 39 in that tag match. And I absolutely love Punk. And I'm with you, Blood. Punk should absolutely win this. But with this has been something on when it comes to Punk fighting for it, as much as he has, is on the same caliber fighting wise as Kofi Mania. Both of them have fought extremely hard, even getting people in the back behind them for this. It just has to happen.
Fuck Kofi Mania. All right. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything for the contract sign in. So I mean, there was a couple other things that were pretty important in the show, like Cody Rhodes. He opened up the show, but then he got interrupted by Randy Orton, so they had a nice little moment. Drew McIntyre joined in on the fun. So Randy Orton, he teased a match with Cody. So we have that. We're about to see, like, I felt like I was like back in the early 2000s again, because we're about to see Cody versus Cena at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton is in the ring with Cody talking about, I'm coming for that belt, and I'm like, what the fuck? What year is this? You know? Other than that, Drew McIntyre defeated Randy Orton tonight on SmackDown, which I also thought was pretty fucking crazy. Clean. Kevin Owens just came out, distracted Randy, and Drew McIntyre took advantage. A big win for Drew McIntyre. But I think, as far as like the most important thing, it was this contract signing, and I think we covered it. So I think we're good here, fellas. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we get out of here? But other than that, I think we're good. What's up, BT?
All right. The only thing that I want to talk about quickly. Mr. Blood, you said it hasn't been confirmed yet about Cena and Cody main eventing night 2. Jay could main event night 2. Cena and Cody is gonna fucking main event night 2. It has to, because if we're gonna take Tommy's logic, right? If it's criminal to have Roman, Punk, and Seth open night 1, where's the same energy? It's going to be criminal for Cena and Cody, with one of the biggest heel turns of like the fucking century, to open night 2. So it needs the main event night 2.
I agree to that point, but at the same time, it comes down to Triple H, Nick Khan. They have a choice to make. If Cena beats Cody for 17, you really do run the risk of sending the crowd home angry, because they're booing the shit out of him right now. And what are they going to do? Cheer for him for beating Cody? He's a heel. So do you want to end the night with the crowd all in favor of the bad guy going over? Or do you want to end the night with 85 to 100,000 people yeeting and crying while yeeting for Jay's big moment and sending them home elated and explosively happy? That you have to make that choice. It's an optics thing for reactions, because WWE is all about moments, right? Capturing those moments so they can replay them in video packages for 20 years to come. What's the best video package, you think? The video package for Cena standing over top of Cody Rhodes, holding up the title, and the whole crowd is just like, because Cody lost? Or do you want the fucking 20 million social media views of 80,000 people going, yeah, yeah. Pat McAfee on fucking commentary on the table going crazy. His brother coming out to congratulate him, possibly Roman coming out to congratulate him. He's so over. Think of the merchandise sales that would happen once everybody leaves that arena, hitting all the fucking shop gates, autograph. Like, it's an optics thing. You have a choice.
Yeah.
You can put Cody and John on first for night 2, like they did to Punk and Drew, Rollins and Drew, or you can put it on second to last, because you know how WWE has their thing, right? Where there's always this argument: what's really the main event? It's one of the main events, right? One of the last 2-3 matches. It's one of the main events, or is it, in Punk's mind, the main event is the match that goes on last? Okay, so you have that, because in that same mindset, then, even though WrestleMania is split into 2 nights, you could argue that, well, the triple threat isn't really a main event either. It's only going on last tonight, not the last of the weekend. So there's still that optics issue of, well, we consider each Mania night parts. Okay, you have the whole night, then you have the intermission for Sunday morning, then you have part 2, the sequel, and then the finale, the last match of the night. So it just depends, right? So, but in my opinion, the reason I'd say that they have a really difficult choice to make is because you've got to either send the fans home extremely happy, or you've got to send them home extremely sad. Because that crowd is going to be filled with Cody crybabies motherfucking galore. And here's the thing. If Cody wins, what the fuck was that massive heel turn for if it doesn't pay off for him his first match in?
Exactly.
So you got to think, Cena has to win in order for this heel turn to really solidify and to have really worked for him. It makes no sense to turn heel if you're going to lose as soon as you turn heel, because then what was the edge for? What did it do for you if you lost? So if Cena wins, crowd's going to be deflated. So have them be deflated right before Jay and Gunther go out there, have their back and forth, and then Jay fights out from underneath with a bunch of fucking traded near falls like you know there's going to be. Maybe some interference from Ludwig Kaiser or something. And then all of a sudden, here comes Jimmy to even the odds. And then Jay does the damn thing. And then the entire arena explodes, erupts with 2 brothers crying, embracing each other, holding his brother up while he holds up the title in one of the biggest moments of his entire life. Maybe Roman joins him. And then you send everybody home crying in tears and happy. So you let John winning drag their feeling down, and you use Jay to ramp them the fuck back up to send them home happy. You get both reactions you want, but you don't sacrifice the audience's immersion for the other like Vince would.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough decision, because Mr. Blood, you said that arena is going to be full of Cody crybabies, but don't forget, there's also people that have been complaining a lot about Cody's title run as of late. There's also a lot of people that want to see John Cena win number 17, regardless of him being a heel.
I agree.
So, I mean, if Cena wins, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be cheering. Let's be honest. And if
I know there's going to be people that are going to be excited. Yeah, absolutely. You're correct. You're 100% correct.
I'm just going to quickly say this. If you can close WrestleMania 39 Night 2 with Roman going over Cody for a fucking cry fest, you can sure as hell end Night 2 for WrestleMania 41 with Cena going over Cody.
And you can, but man, it pissed so many people off. Because here's the problem. They ended it that way for shock value, to make Cody have to fight his way back up. But what happened after that? The worst Raw of all time. Remember, it was rated one of the worst Monday Night Raws after WrestleMania of all time. It had the bullshit turn of Brock Lesnar on Cody. And Cody went on to have one of the most lackluster fucking years leading back up into the return fight in WrestleMania season the following year. He had one of the most boring
Yeah.
years. So if you
Yeah.
do that again, the booking better be fucking stellar for Cody. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't want to sit through another fucking, after Mania 6-7 month cool down period where he's just randomly in a feud with Lesnar. Then he's randomly fucking tag champions with Jey Uso. Then this, then that. Like, come on. You know what I'm
You guys
saying?
also got to consider the fact that if they do put Jey Uso and Gunther in the main event over Cody versus Cena, you guys are we going to send the home happy when Jey Uso wins it? But what if he doesn't win it?
That's the thing. At this point, he has to win.
I don't.
They have put too much stock behind him.
Does
And
he
let's be
though?
honest.
I don't know.
But
Tommy,
let's be honest.
yeah,
Gunther's reign has proven that it's not as good as it should have been, and they need to freshen up. That's why they're going to put it on Jay at Mania. And the amount of energy they put behind Jay, they have to have him win. That's not even a question.
I
Because
just don't.
what do you give Gunther after him?
I just don't think Jay's run as champion would be better than Gunther's. But that's a conversation.
I think it would be. You're right. I'll say this to end it, and I'll send it to Tommy. But hold on. I just want to say this. You say that, but in reality, you really think Gunther's reign would be better than the reign that Jay would have, even though Jay has the better stories to tell? Him versus Cody, him versus Sammy, him versus Roman.
Jay versus Cody.
Jay versus Cody would be insane. Yes, let's see it. We've never seen it. Let's do it.
No, I'm good.
We're talking about big high stakes here. What does Gunther have left if he retains at Mania? Ludwig Kaiser? That's about it. Who else?
I don't know. Tommy, let's hear from you.
So, and this will be like my final thought here. Thank you, Blood, for changing my mind on this. I'm completely with you. At this point, Jay could absolutely main event WrestleMania Night 2. He absolutely could. Because at this point, you have changed my mind on this. It's either they go home all happy for Jay, or they go home pissed like they did at WrestleMania 39. But with that, with some of the stuff that we've seen, there are other people here that could absolutely be a factor, especially if Jay ends up winning the World Heavyweight title. Stay corrected, when he ends up winning the World Heavyweight title. One of the things that I know all five of us have seen is the fan thought out WrestleMania entrance for Jay. How the entirety of the bloodline, we're talking all four for Timu bloodline, Roman showing up, Rikishi showing up, it ending right before Jay goes out with Jimmy. Like, just them alone. Just imagine the pop that ending for night 2 would be if when Jay wins the World Heavyweight title, just like when Priest cashed in and won it and had the entirety of the Judgment Day running out to top of the ramp, this time would be different. It would be the entire family. I'm talking Jacob, Tama, Tonga, Rikishi.
Celebrating with Jay?
All celebrating with Jay.
In the ring.
In the ring, yes.
They're heels.
Just like it last year with Cody.
They're heels.
But it'd be Jay bringing it back to the family. It'd be Jay bringing it back to the family, though. That's the point. The world title would be back in the family, and it'd be because Jay did it. Roman fumbled, Jay picked up. At the end of the day, they all want to be champion, but they just want the champion in the bloodline somewhere.
It's just, that doesn't make sense story-wise.
I mean, story-wise, no, but at the same time, story-wise, it doesn't, and it does. It doesn't make sense for the fact that they're heels. It does make sense that they would be like, one of us still brought that prize back to the family.
Yeah,
And there is
they
So
can do
for
that.
to,
They can do
so
that in the
for
back in
tonight,
private. Don't do it
yeah,
in the ring.
well, yeah, but for tonight, we celebrate with you. Tomorrow, we come after you.
there is one clip that WWE has put out that's coming into my mind right now, and it's right after Jay won the Rumble.
Yeah, and right behind the curtain, Jacob's there, Solo's there.
Standing in the back.
Yeah, that's
You-
different though. That was like a cell phone personal video. It wasn't.
The point still stands there
No,
that
it
you
doesn't. It
say
really
Yes, the
doesn't.
fuck it does.
It's not the same at all. It is not
It
the
is the
same at
same.
all. No, it's
It
not.
is.
It would be, but either way, it would be a very sweet full circle moment. The bloodline story started with Jay's defiance of Roman, and his story of him winning the title culminates with him being surrounded by the very family he was trying to provide for. It is a beautiful book end. Does it fit heel and face wise? No. But as far as what the overarching story meant to an entire wrestling generation of people for 5 years, it would be a very heartwarming moment. And at the end of the day, WWE is all about what people?
moment.
Moment.
Anyway, that was our Friday night SmackDown, the main event segment review, the contract signing. Damn, there was so much happening here. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Hit us up, hit me up, Snug Wrestling. And be sure to leave a star rating and leave a review. And we will talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this feud here with Gunther and Jey Uso because I have some pretty good ideas, I think, of
Hold on,
how.
I gotta change. I gotta change real quick.
Okay.
There you go.
You interrupted me to do that? Now I got to start over. Now I don't even know how to start. All right. Let's get into it, fellas. Gunther and Jey Uso, the feud that many people have been complaining about, that it's not that interesting. It's not that great. And we decided to, well, let's see if we can find ways to make it more interesting. So I tasked you guys, I gave you guys homework. I wanted you to come out with your best ideas to make this feud better. And we're going to share our ideas and we're going to compare and see who has the better idea here. And I'm pretty proud of mine. I'm not gonna lie. Let's be honest here. I think I got you guys beat here, but we'll see. Again, this goes back because just to give a little context, we talked about the story that's going on right now that they're telling. Jey Uso, he's been looking really good lately. He squashed Austin Theory. He's winning his matches pretty decisively. But there's some instances where Jey Uso slips. He kind of fumbles a little bit. He's kind of been botching a little bit, you know. Is that going to take effect in the match at WrestleMania versus Gunther? Gunther, on the other hand, he's been wrestling guys like Akira Tozawa, Otis, Axiom, kind of guys in the mid card and lower. And he's been having competitive matches. Gunther has also been struggling. Gunther has been attacking Jey. And that's pretty much it. That's all that we've had so far in this build-up for WrestleMania. Which, me personally, I'm not very happy with that. I'm not very satisfied. So let's do it. Let's see if we can spice things up in this feud. BT, let's go with you first since Mr. Blood, I went first with you earlier. What are your thoughts on this? Do you have any ideas on how to make this better, or are you satisfied?
I don't have any ideas on how to make this feud better. I'm done fucking trying to think of ways to improve this because I think what they're doing is enough. I think what they're doing is enough. It's just that people care more about Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Seth Rollins and all of these fucking bigger superstars than a person who has worked 15 years in this company and is trying to work his ass off in the singles division. That's all it fucking is. Just because he has 4 moves in his moveset, or fucking 5 moves in his moveset. How many people fucking get away with only 1 move in their moveset? Like, think of Steve Austin. He's a fucking brawler. Same as LA Knight, but LA Knight is at least going onto the fucking middle rope, jumping onto the top rope to hit a fucking elbow. At least he actually is able to jump onto the top rope clean like Braun Breaker would to hit a fucking suplex. But say what you want. You are free to have an opinion about Jey Uso. If you don't think he deserves this, if you think he deserves this, I'm just done with it at this point. But for how to make this feud better, I don't fucking know. I just think that what they are doing is enough.
Enough as
That's-
in like you're enjoying the feud and how it's going right now. You'll be happy watching the match when it happens.
Fucking oath. Fucking oath. But the only thing I want is for Gunther to actually man up and actually beat the piss out of Jimmy. I want him to beat the piss out of him. Because that will set the fire into Jey Uso. That's the only criticism that I need. I need to see Jimmy bleed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the one thing that I fucking need. Because if Jey sees that, that'll provoke the fire in him more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only criticism that I have, and that's the only thing that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I'm fine with whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with whatever happens. You can continue to fucking talk about his botches and all of that, but I think they are doing fine with his booking wise. I just wish people cared more. That's all. So,
All right, Tommy, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts? What's your ideas on how to make this feud between Gunther and Jey a little bit more interesting?
I am with BT on this, where Jimmy definitely needs to get beaten the shit out of next week. He truly does, because as BT says, this, when that happens, Jey is naturally, because that's his twin, he's going to be pissed off of his mind. We're talking Drew McIntyre face to face with CM Punk pissed. Seth Rollins when CM Punk came back pissed. Like, that's how pissed Jey is going to end up being. And with that, that's going to set that fire in him, especially with that pep talk from last week that Jey got. The whole, this version of you, this version will not beat Gunther. What you need is you need that right-hand man, Jey, that main event, Jey Uso. Like, that's what you need. It's like that pep talk there definitely put the fire in his eyes right then and there. But watching Jimmy get beat, that's going to make that fire even hotter in him. But the biggest thing for me, Jey seems fine. Like, Jey's side of stuff, for me at least, is fine. My issue is Gunther. Like, yes, Gunther is pretty decent in the ring. My skills, all he does is really get into their heads. That's pretty much it. But what Gunther loves to do with this specific one that he hasn't done with all of his other feuds is attacking from behind week after week after week after week. And at this point, it's getting annoying as fuck. Do something different with him at this point. Because this week after week, I'm going to attack you from behind, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm getting sick of it.
All right.
Gunther's the problem. Not
Wait, say that again.
Gunther's the problem, not Jay.
Hmm. All right, Blood. Let's hear from you.
This is actually kind of why I wanted to go first or go second because I wanted to say it before anybody else did because you all said exactly what I've been thinking all week is um, I need this to be a very well put together competitive match on Monday, but I need at some point in the match Gunther is unable to put Jimmy away, and I want him to snap, throw the match out. Everybody's talking about crash out, Jay. I need Gunther to crash out. And I mean really crash out because he's already dangerous when he's put together and ready. And even at the ends of matches where he's like, oh, I can't put this person away, and he starts like, getting desperate, but he never cheats. I need him to crash the fuck out for the first time ever. A proper Gunther crash out. He's done. Fuck the match. Fuck the win. I'm gonna destroy you before your brother can get out here to save you. I'm gonna put you in a hold or do something to you to where I make your brother stop in his tracks, afraid that if he moves another inch, I'm gonna break his big brother. I need him to, put him in a chokehold or hold his head on top of the stairs of the chair or do something Gunther's never done to anybody. And when Jay comes out to save him, I need Gunther to be like, stop right there! You make one more step, I break your brother. I'll put him back on the shelf. I need Jay pleading for Gunther to show mercy. Pleading. I need Jimmy to be in such dire straits that the fact that Jay is there is putting him in more danger. And that when Jay complies and agrees that he won't move, stop, please stop. I want Gunther to tell Jay, back out of the match at Mania, or I'm going to hurt your brother. Back out now. Agree to back out like you should have at the start of this. And if you don't, I'm going to end his career. And I need Jay to actually fold. I need Jay to literally sit there and actually be about to give Gunther what he wants. I need Jay to sit there and go, okay. Hold on, okay. You want me to back out? And as soon as Jay's about to answer, I want Jimmy to scream, no, don't you do it. This is your moment. I want Jimmy to fight for Jay to let Jimmy get hurt so that Jay can have the moment he fought for. I need Jimmy's selflessness to come into play because I need the best Jay is a conflicted Jay. Do I save my brother or do I resist and take the moment I always wanted? And just when Jay is about to concede to Gunther's threats over Jimmy, Jimmy is the one who stops Jay and tells him, "No, this is yours. I'll be okay." And I want Gunther to just do it to Jimmy anyway.
Whoa, pause.
To really push Jay over the edge so that in the next couple weeks, Jay is crashed out completely. Jimmy is not seen at all until Mania, where he comes out to even whatever odds there need to be evened if Ludwig gets involved or whatever. And I think that would make the story better. I also think what's crazier is because I was the first one in the group who said it, right? I was the first one who sat there and said Gunther was the problem. I said it weeks ago, and Snug disagreed with me. And I literally said that Gunther was the part of the story that was the problem. In ring, Gunther's top tier, one of the best in this field, one of the best technicians ever. But at the same time, his mic skills are middling at best. A lot of it has to do with this heavy accent. A lot of it has to do with they put him in there with people who can really just weave promos together naturally. Gunther's not a natural talker. Jimmy is a natural talker. Jay, natural talker. Look at everybody they put Gunther up against. They've all been better talkers than Gunther. Sheamus, Drew, the list, like you name it. Everybody he's ever had to get on the mic with and pass the stick back and forth with, they've all been better than him. He showed one glimmer against Damian Priest, where it was like, oh shit, Gunther's cooking. And then Damian took it right back out of him. Even Damian's a better talker. And Damian trips up on his words all the time. But this is one of those things where, because of the way they booked Gunther, if they were going to book Gunther the way they did, where they were like, we're going to have you sneak attack forever, something that Gunther's character has never done. He's always been the heel that was never chicken shit. Gunther was not a chicken shit heel until this feud. He was never a chicken shit. You won't find one time where he told Ludwig to interfere, told Giovanni Vinci to interfere, cheat for me, do that. Gunther won that was the best part about Gunther being a monster heel. He won every match clean. He never cheated. Even if someone else did something, it was never him. If Dominic Mysterio got involved, it was never him who cheated. He just ended the match. That was what was so great about Gunther. He was one of those few and far in between monster heels that can actually win and doesn't run away. And now you're telling the story of him having to sneak attack constantly. He has to take down the lower card fucking wrestlers because they're not supposed to be a challenge to him. He's looking for squash matches and they're actually putting up fights. If we were going to make that the story for Gunther, the one problem I have with it is that they didn't tell the story through verbalization. How come Jay isn't calling Gunther out? You go for all these people who can't stand up to you. You keep attacking me from behind. You didn't used to do that. You was Gunther. You was the reigning general. What you now? A fucking cadet? Like, he should have called him out and called him the coward that he is. He said, this isn't the Gunther he used to be. It should have been Jay playing mind games back. They should have put in the story that the whole story was that Gunther lost his edge and could only feel like he could take Jay through cheap tactics. So he lessened himself in his own ring pedigree, lessened the champion that he was, something he never done before, because he's truly that threatened by Jay. Why is that not the... If you want to do these sneak attacks every week, fine. Why isn't that the actual verbalized story and promos being told? Because all we're getting from Jay in response is they're just having Jay go out there and say, everybody down me. Everybody tell me I can't be Gunther. Everybody this. Oh, I messed up this. Man, I've got this self-doubt. Why are you talking about all your shortcomings, Jay? Why aren't you calling out all of Gunther's shortcomings recently? He's not the champion he was when he was the Intercontinental Champion. Why aren't you mentioning that? He had a bigger set of balls on him when he was the IC champ. He had a bigger set of balls on him when he was going against everybody else but you. Why does he feel so inferior to you? Why aren't you telling me that story on the microphone? Because it would really sell all of his tactics if you did that. That's what would make the story better. By actually verbally mentioning the shit he's doing week after week after week after week and hammering it home that he can only beat me when he does this shit. It's the only time he gets a leg up on me. Has he beaten me in the ring in the past? Sure. But how come he feels like but he never sneak attacked me before, so why is he doing it now? It's because he sees the difference in me. He sees that I'm different now, that I can do it now, and he feels it, he senses it, and he knows that I've got his number now. I should have beat him the last time we faced. He knows it now. Mention that shit to me on TV. Another thing, the last thing, the point that I fucking made already so many times that I'm going to say to you again for new listeners. The biggest problem with this fucking story is that it's taking too long to fucking tell. Because they put Mania almost an entire month out longer than they usually would. It's always been at the end of March, within the first week of April. Putting it nearly to fucking May made too much open fucking space. It's different for the Cena story. It's different for the Roman story because those stories have been building for such a long time. What's another 2 months? But this is different. This is, dude, you won the Rumble almost 2 months ago, bro. Why are we still in this feud and not a match between the two of you has happened since then? And now we're waiting another fucking month for you to finally have your end all be all match. My problem is that this story is taking too long to tell because Mania is too far away from where the initial feud started. And that's the problem here. People are getting bored with it because we're all holding our breath for the match to already happen. And checks notes, we still have 3 fucking weeks.
All right, Toxic.
Okay, mine is a little bit of a mix of everyone's. So let's fast forward to Jimmy versus Gunther. Gunther clocks the shit out of Jimmy, makes blood drip down his face. Gunther doesn't even care about the match. He grabs a chair, steel chair, just unloads on Jimmy, wraps the steel chair around his neck, grabs another one, but he's about to hit him. Jay comes out and he says, "Hold on, you take one step closer. I break you, I break him, I break your family." So Jay, he's emotional right now because he don't know what to do. So he starts to go backstage, and then he runs towards the ring, trying to say
Jesus fucking Christ.
It didn't happen all night until the last guy gets to talk.
Oh my
It,
fucking
the
god.
funny thing is, it usually happens with BT. But the thing is, it did happen with BT, but you kept talking through it. It was during that point where you were talking specifically to him.
That's because the show must go on.
All right, start again, Toxic. Motherfucker.
so. My bad, my mom called me. Okay, so where was I? So Gunther beats Jay to the ground, then pursues to do what he says. He breaks Jimmy, puts him on the shelf until Mania. Let's fast forward to a Smackdown. Roman's in the ring with Paul. Gunther sneaks up behind Roman, attacks him, does the same damn thing, but before Gunther can get the chair around Roman's neck, Jay pulls the classic bloodline tactic we all know and love. Actually, no, we all know and hate. Black hoodie, black bandana, just wearing black. Kicks the shit out of Gunther. Makes him cower. Makes him plead that he doesn't do it because he is so damn pissed that he is always doubted by everyone. He has Gunther beneath him. Let's fast forward to Mania. Jay, he's backstage, but waiting to go out. As he's going, he's talking to the crowd, and he runs into family. Rikishi, Solo, Jacob, Tama, Tonga, even though it doesn't make sense because they're heels. They say, tonight, if you win, we celebrate. Tomorrow, we're not cool anymore. Unless you give us the shot at the title. If you give us a shot, we'll be cool for now. He runs into Roman. Roman thanks him for having his back, and then he runs into Jimmy. Jimmy says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of something if something goes on." Jay goes out there. The match is going on. Ludwig comes out. Jimmy does it. Jay takes the win. Boom.
Right on. All right. I'm with all you guys, man. When it comes to this feud, I feel like this feud it's missing, like, it doesn't really feel that personal to me. It doesn't really feel like a personal issue. And I was thinking, okay, how can we make this like a more intense personal feud? Because like in the saying in wrestling is like, what what draws is in wrestling is personal issues, right? So what means the most to Jay? Obviously Jimmy. I mean, obviously he has a match with Gunther on Monday Night Raw. So I agree, you guys. Jimmy has to get written off. Like we're all wishing the worst on Jimmy right now for the sake of making this feud more interesting, right? And and me too. Like I want to see like a hospitalization angle. I don't know if I said it right, but I want to see Jimmy really getting hurt badly. Um, to just make it more intense, make it more personal, and I'm sorry, like Toxic. I'm gonna take it a step further. We fast forward maybe to like next Monday or next Friday night SmackDown or whatever. Why not? Let's get Rikishi involved. Rikishi, he's a name that is known to all the wrestling fans. Everyone knows, it's no secret, Rikishi is Jay's dad, right? I would like to see Rikishi maybe show up on TV maybe one time to give an update on Jimmy. I'm out here because Jimmy wanted me to come out for his, to represent him, to tell you guys that he's okay. He can't wait to come back. And man, it's so good to be here with you guys once again. I missed you guys, and kind of like the same thing, and have them do something like Gunther did with Goldberg when they had that little stare down, and people were even saying, "Oh, Goldberg versus Gunther," and shit like that. But instead of Goldberg, have it be Rikishi. Gunther gets some heat on Rikishi. I'm not saying he has to beat down Rikishi. I'm not saying he has to get physical with Rikishi. But Gunther goes out there, fucking cuts a promo on Rikishi, a good promo, because he can, Mr. Blood, because Gunther is actually a good promo, and he can get a lot of heat on Rikishi just by talking to him. And I don't know, man, just to make it more personal, I feel like this is what this feud needs. You take out Jimmy, and then you involve Rikishi, who's a legend, who's the father of them two. And I think that right there is enough to not only get who you guys call Crash Out Jay, but also you get more heat on Gunther as a big evil heel. And man, who can't get behind some dickhead disrespecting your dad, your father? Of course you're gonna come out and defend Big Quiche. So I think that was my idea, to try to make this more interesting. But I try to think more and more. But that's the only other thing that I can come up with besides Jimmy getting taken out. But I'm like, okay, but it can't just be that. There has to be more to it. So I want to see Rikishi get involved before WrestleMania. With that being said, I think we all agree on one thing: Jimmy Uso needs to get his on Monday Night Raw. So what did you guys think? Any comments or any thoughts about any of the predictions that we've made so far? Go ahead, Blood.
Sorry, Tommy. And another thing, I think BT's been frozen, and I don't know how long. I've been trying to see if his screen is moving. He has been a
Your
statue,
internet
and
is a while. He has been stuck in a yawn on my screen for a while.
he's just stuck blank, dead, staring at us, and no movement or breathing. But and I think he just realized that. But anyway, the only thing that I disagree with is actually what Snug said. Um, and not the Gunther thing because we'll go back and forth on that. But Rikishi getting involved is the only thing I disagree with, and I'll tell you why. It's pretty simple for me. Rikishi getting involved to come out and give us an update and speak, and having Gunther come out and threaten their dad, it feels too Vince to me. It feels too Vince McMahon booking to me, and it's too soap opera y for me. And the one thing I've loved about WWE under Triple H is a lot of that soap opera feel has been taken out. It feels a bit more hyper real. Stakes always feel more real. And I don't think Rikishi adds anything that way. Um, I think that personally, if you want Rikishi to be there, I mean, then fine. Have it like if they're in a Raw near their hometown where they live, then maybe Rikishi's backstage and he just walks in the frame and talks to Jay.
I mean,
Hey,
they are going to be over here. They are
yeah,
going to be
like
on the
how you
West
do,
Coast before WrestleMania.
yeah. So like I'm saying, like it could just be a backstage segment where Jay's there and all of a sudden he's just there warming up, just getting ready to go out like this, and all of a sudden, hey, how you doing, son? Hey, Pop, what's it going? And the crowd will go crazy. He's like, I'm doing good, son. That's good, Dad. I'm happy you're doing good. Good stuff's good. Yeet. Hey, have you talked to your brother? Oh, nah, he ain't doing too hot, Pop. He's in the hospital. He's got this and this and that. I know, man. You got to get Gunther for what he did to your brother. My in-ring days are over, but you've got to step up for your brother. That's the most I want to see out of it. I don't want Rikishi in the ring cutting a whole promo, trying to get the crowd pumped up by doing his breakdance shit. Like we're so past that. It'd be too cheesy. And it would ham up the story. And I think that would derail any momentum they could have by having Jimmy get fucking cakewalked um, by Gunther. And again, I don't want Jimmy to get cakewalked by Gunther. I want it to be a situation where Gunther can't put Jimmy away because Jimmy, and Jay are equals in the ring. Same move sets, everything. They're just as good, just as ferocious as each other. They both don't quit or give up. And I don't want Jimmy to just get fucking jobbed out to Gunther. I want this shit to be the main event of Raw. I want it to go 12, 15, 20 minutes. And I want Jimmy to really give Gunther such a run for his money that it makes Gunther doubt himself even more. Because you saw how he looked up Jimmy up and down and just smirked at him last Monday. He doesn't see Jimmy as a threat. I want him to fucking see Jimmy as a threat come Monday and realize, fuck, if I can barely beat Jimmy, how the fuck am I going to beat Jay?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my idea is very soap opera, and they're not doing that anymore, but that's literally what we're seeing with Bianca and Naomi. Oh my god, was it you? Did you attack her? Oh my god, having fucking Emmy award winning fucking segments, but WWE doesn't do soap operas anymore, right?
I mean, but I wouldn't say that's soap opera. I would say that's drama. But like Vince always brought out the dads for that. Remember when they had Dusty out there to stand up for Gold Dust and Cody when they were fighting the Authority, and he ate that right hand punch from fucking Big Show and sold it like.
See, you call
and
it.
then fell into Big Show's arms to hold him up.
You call it a
and
Vince
Big Show's
thing.
crying. I'm sorry I had to do it to you.
You call it a Vince thing, but really, what it is, it's more like a old school, like classic wrestling thing that people would do to try to make feuds more personal, and also
but Vince always hammed it up. Vince hammed up this.
Also, the whole going back to you didn't watch SmackDown tonight, but Naomi had a videos package. It was a video package.
I saw that.
Okay,
I did see it.
That's not.
She's not going to be underappreciated. She's not going to be underappreciated anymore.
That wasn't soap opera-y?
I mean, a little, but at the same time, when Naomi does that, and she comes out there and she gives some very, very convincing kayfabe like ass whoopings. like there are moments there where she's beating a B-Fab where I was like, damn, pull it back a little bit. I think you actually wrapped her on the side of her fucking head. Like Naomi's convincing with the shit though.
I don't know.
Like
Whenever Naomi's on my TV, I look away.
I don't see them convincingly beating down Rikishi. You know what I mean?
Tommy, what you got?
I want Damien to get involved to talk to Jay. I want Damien to talk to him. Because of the fact that Damien was the one who lost that title to Gunther. So maybe they could bring that in a little bit. Have Damien walk up to him and just go, listen, Gunther brought up my past and the fact that I lived in the ghettos for so long. But yet he has said nothing about you and your past and your darkest thoughts. What makes you so different from everyone else? It's like even with Goldberg and Goldberg's kid, it's like he still tried to get into their heads too. And they aren't even having a damn match. Jay is the only person that he has yet to try and push at those deepest, darkest thoughts there. And the history that he has and his past and all of that. I want Damien to talk to him before Mania. And get him to think about that.
Well, earlier, Mr. Blood, you were talking about how you feel like the reason the feud is going the way that it's going is because you feel like Gunther's the issue. Well, I disagree 100%, and I'm going to say that the issue here is Jey Uso. Jey Uso, he's over, okay? He's one of the most popular guys in the WWE. But he is who he is today for a reason. It's because he's been protected. The WWE has highlighted his strengths a lot more, which is what they're supposed to do. This is how you make stars. But they're not going to put him out there and let him sink. Like you were saying, why doesn't he say this? Why doesn't he tell Gunther, like in a promo, like, hey, this, that, and the other? It's because he's not that great at cutting promos. Jey Uso is not a better promo than Gunther.
That is true. As a tag team,
Gunther, hold on. I let you guys talk. I let you guys talk for a long time. So now you guys are going to hear me out, okay?
Oh.
Is that cool?
I'm listening to you. I wasn't interrupting you.
No,
I'm listening to you.
you're over there gasping and stuff, and that's kind of distracting.
Gasping on mute.
No, I can hear you. Okay.
Well, now.
Okay. So, Jey Uso compared to Gunther is more, I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say it. He's more like more, what's the word? He's smarter. I mean, Jey Uso, he's street smart. He's a kind of hood. So the way that Gunther speaks compared to the way that Jey Uso speaks, Gunther can form better sentences in a promo than Jey Uso. It's that fucking simple. Jey Uso, when he cuts a promo, yes, he's over. Yes, the fans love him. Yes, he's exciting. But he says two words, yeet, and then they do this, yeet, and then those are his promos. Jey Uso can't go toe-to-toe on the mic unscripted with a Gunther or with a Cody or with, he's very protected. He's very limited to what he can do on the mic. Just how, he's limited in the ring also, but that doesn't mean that he's not good. He is, but I think the reason that the feud is going the way that it's going right now is because they're trying to protect Jey Uso. Like if they make him do more, I think they're just gonna he's gonna show his ass. He's gonna show his ass. So I think Gunther is the way better promo here, and that's why he's doing most of the talking. Go ahead.
While I respect your opinion, I massively respect your opinion, but also I humbly disagree. Gunther is smarter, ring wise, yes. Articulation, as far as speaking, he's better at articulating fully formed sentences through his accent, of which, and we saw many a times in a couple feuds last year, prominently Damian Priest, his feud with Damian, he tripped over his words in promos almost every week. It's because, and I said this again, it's the accent. He has hard times forming certain sentences that would come across in normal English, like you or me are saying, because he's also speaking through his English learned language barrier. Because there are things he goes, you really think that you could stand up for me, to me, that you could, beat me? These people here, they find you amused. Like he has to think of words a lot. Like and I listen to every word he says. He has stumbled many a time. Jay off script, Jay, in my opinion, is a better speaker because Jay cuts promos from the heart, which is always the best promo cutter. The person who is literally speaking from within and feeling the crowd and saying it off rip. Let's not forget that when Jay and Jimmy were at the height of the Uso Penitentiary, those two were the best promos on SmackDown every week. What do you call it? We've been trying to couldn't get a text message? Couldn't send a message in a bottle back? Couldn't send a smoke signal back? Where you been back? Like these guys, their rap battle with the freaking New Day. They wrote those. Okay, like Jay and Jimmy are both simultaneously. Jimmy's better than Jay on the mic, 100%. But Jay and Jimmy both are heavily underrated on the mic. Jay does the yeet stuff now to break up the monotony of a promo to let the crowd feel involved because it heightens the promo when the crowd is always getting to give their feedback and he knows that he's controlling the promo intelligently, making sure the fans are reacting. That's why you'll see someone cut a promo and the fans are fucking crickets because they'll ignore everything that the fans are doing and reacting to and just focus on their opponent. The crowd is a character. You need the involvement from the crowd. Jay does the yeet thing. One, it's his catchphrase, yes, but it also lets the fans know, hey, we're here too, and we want to be involved in this too. And he knows that. He's like, nah, doesn't think he can sneak attack me from behind like he gonna beat me in Mania? Nah, he can't beat me on my worst day. Yeet, yeet. You think he's gonna do that? Oh, come on. You think he's gonna beat me? No, yeet. Like literally, like it's perfect crowd manipulation. It's Jay is intelligent in ways that Gunther isn't. Gunther does not know how to connect with the audience because there's nothing in his character, his character setup, the personality that is geared towards audience connection. There's no catchphrase. He doesn't have a line he says. He doesn't have anything where when the crowd says something, all he does is insult them back. That's it. He doesn't do anything like a Cena or a Rollins or a Punk or a Roman. Nothing that engages the audience built into his character. Jay, and by the way, the crowd's who it's all about, don't forget. And that's where Jay excels leaps and bounds above Gunther. Jay is 100% in tune with the audience in a way that Gunther could never be. In the ring, people talk about his in-ring ability. Tell me how Gunther is any better than Jay in the ring. Because I'll name you. We know all of Jay's moves, right? The fucking uppercut, super kick, spear, splash, and a what else? Super kick. Unless I already said that. Other than that,
Samoan
elbows, Samoan drop. Okay, what's Gunther got? Slap, power bomb, Emerald Fusion, chops again, sleeper, drop kick. His big double drop kick. Gunther's just as limited in the ring. just as limited as Jay. The only difference is Gunther uses technical wrestling, which is only a mixture of rest holds and mat manipulation. Other than that, Gunther does maybe 1 to 2 things more than Jay does in the ring. And that's it. Let's be honest
Yeah.
here.
We're also talking about connecting with the crowd with a baby face and a heel. Obviously the baby face is going to connect more with the crowd because that's their job as opposed to a heel like
Tell that to
Gunther.
Logan Paul. Tell that to Logan Paul. Tell that to Dominic Mysterio.
Tell that to Braun Breaker.
Yeah,
What? Tell them
who's
what?
also a heel.
Tell
Because they're heels, they don't have crowd connection. Some of the greatest heels in history have the best crowd connection.
Yeah.
Some
Well, Gunther is definitely up there as one of the greatest heels. I mean, just because he doesn't connect with you doesn't mean he doesn't connect with the audience.
No, he connects with me for his in-ring ability and his sanctity of the mat. He connects with me because when I look at him, I see a bona fide, incredible talent who is one of the best in his generation, especially as a throwback. But as far as doing what you're out there to do, which is engage the crowd, keep them engaged, treat them like a character, bounce off them to keep yourself over, and make them emotionally invest in you, which is the job. He doesn't lace Jay's boots in that department.
And wait, in what department?
Full blown crowd connection, crowd
He's
immersion,
a heel.
making it feel free. It doesn't matter.
It
Dominic
does matter.
Mysterio was so good at being a heel that every time he tried to speak into the microphone, the audience booed so loud you couldn't hear his promos, and it became their thing.
Dominic Mysterio is a completely different heel than the Gunther.
He's a mega heel. He's a bigger heel than Gunther is. If you want to be real, the only reason Gunther, you could say he's a bigger heel than Dom is because he's got a title on his waist. But Dominic gets louder reactions than Gunther does. And that's a fact.
Doesn't take away anything away from Gunther. The fact that
No,
Dominic
it doesn't.
Mysterio,
I'm not saying it takes anything away from him. But but if you're talking about promo work, you're talking about just because he's a heel. Being a heel doesn't matter. Edge was a heel through the majority of his run, and they loved to hate him. John Cena was a heel throughout his entire Dr. Thugonomics gimmick, and he had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand.
Look, I understand. I understand why people don't like Gunther. I understand why people may find him boring or whatever. Gunther, he's like not your typical guy or your typical wrestler in modern wrestling.
No, he's not. They
That's
love
why-
him in ring. That's the thing. In ring, everybody's in love with him.
That's why modern fans nowadays, don't really care for Gunther, but
No, because they want the flippy shit.
exactly.
But Gunther is for those people like me and you who love old school wrestling, technical wrestling.
They want the cool guy, which is
They want
Jey
Ricochet.
Uso. No,
They want ricochets.
no, they want someone exciting. They want someone like Jey Uso, which is why a lot of people think that Jey Uso is the superior talker, the superior athlete, but that's just
I don't think
by
anybody's saying he's a
design.
superior. I don't think anybody's saying that Jay's a superior athlete, because if I'm being honest, Gunther's the better athlete. Jay is, because he's in my opinion, Gunther is the better wrestler because of that technical prowess in his style. If we're talking about if we're talking like wrestling in the terms of longevity and stamina in the ring, speed in the ring, explosiveness, Jay's better. If we're talking about tact and technical ability and strategy and hard hitting offense, Gunther.
Also,
I think they're both equal in different ways.
Also, there's a reason why people feel like that about Jey Uso. Why people feel like Jey Uso is like this great talker and this great wrestler. A lot of it has to do because of Gunther. All of this is done by design. It's not like really, it's not really just black and white. Like, oh, Jey Uso, he's just the better talker, or he's the better character, or he connects more with the crowd. Gunther as a heel, he's getting put in that position to make people feel like that about Jey Uso.
But
As
people felt that way about Jay beforehand because of the bloodline story, giving him all that time to do
yes,
that promo work with Roman, getting that time to show that he was a three-dimensional character.
because of heels that Jey Uso was up against, heels like
Well, no,
Roman,
even
heels
when he
like
was
Gunther.
falling in line behind freaking when he was the heel in the bloodline for the majority of the run, he was a heel.
Hmm.
He was working. Remember, he was a babyface against Roman's heel at first. And when they had their first feud, he was holding his own. He was better than Roman on the mic.
So then
When
why
he
do you
became
so why do you think they're not allowing Jay to go after Gunther more on the mic then if he's such a great talker?
because that was the point that I made when I said that's the problem I have. Because my problem isn't just with Gunther. My problem with Gunther in this feud is that my problem with Gunther is not Gunther himself making it boring. You misunderstand it. It's the writing that they are giving Gunther and his actions and having him do without Jay reciprocating verbally to those actions. Gunther is not the problem. Let me rephrase that. The writing around Gunther in this feud is the problem. If you are going to have Gunther act so out of character, why are you not then writing for Jay to call him out on it? Because
So why
Jay is completely within his character.
but why do you think that they're not letting Jay do that then? Why do you
That's the
personally
question,
think?
isn't it? It's the writing has failed them both up to this point in this feud.
So you don't have an opinion as to why they don't let Jay do that. You
I
don't
think
you
my
don't have a
opinion would
clue.
be I think my opinion would be if they did that, I feel like they are afraid that it would be undercutting Gunther. Because if he loses at Mania, you just let Jay for weeks chop away at Gunther's character, and now he loses the title. You kind of just fucking screwed him over on the back end when he's titleless, and you fucking pinned him as a coward. Now you've changed everybody's perception of who he is as a character. It'd be the same thing they did with Shinsuke Nakamura all those years ago. This incredible, amazing main event as talent who was insane. And what ruined his character? Kicking AJ in the balls
I
turned
don't
everybody on him. You
I
know, it's like, it's the fact of you can't sell me a guy who's indestructible and then let someone tell me all the ways he's indestructible and then rip away the thing that makes him a champion and expect me to still hold him in that same regard. I think that they're afraid to let Jay do that because they're afraid it would be character assassination on Gunther after the fact. It'd be taking too much from his character
and I go
at the
back
same time.
and I go back to what I said. Gunther's a good enough talker that it wouldn't undercut him at all because he would be able to defend himself and hold his own on the mic versus
And
Jey
that's the thing.
Uso.
We may think that. You may think that. But do the writers, does Triple H, does Nick Khan, and
Toxic,
those are the guys in charge.
toxic. What do you think?
Gunther is also really boring because the time that he's been in WWE and NXT, whenever he was in NXT, is because he's been champion. He's boring when he has a title on him. Is it me? Is it just me? Or does anyone else find Gunther boring when he has a title on him? I hate Gunther that I hate Gunther when he has a title on him. He after he loses the World Heavyweight Champion, he does not need another title. No more fucking titles for that man. Intercontinental Championship reign. Great fucking reign. NXT UK Championship reign. Great fucking reign. World Heavyweight Champion. Dog shit. Like if
I
you want
agree.
to if you want to bring someone else that has been champion for a long time into the play, like Roman Reigns, he's interesting when he's not a champion. Seth Rollins, he's interesting when he's not a champion. CM Punk, he's interesting when he's not a champion.
It's because a lot of these guys are better at chasing than holding. And that's a lot
And
of people's problem with Cody as well. They felt like he was more interesting on the chase. And that's the problem that we talked about with Jay. His chase could be incredible, but they're fucking it up. So it makes everybody afraid of what his run is going to be. And Gunther had a much better IC title reign. I don't think anybody can dispute that because he defended it more frequently. He had better matches in that reign, and he had a killer fucking WrestleMania triple threat in that reign. When it comes to this reign, he's had like 4, maybe 5 defenses. A couple of them were repeat defenses. And it's like, dude, you're spreading your roster to all these other stories and you're giving Gunther nothing. Then you took Ludwig away from him, who helped make him even more interesting and more of a threat because you had this guy who was backing him up. And it's like, well, now you've left Gunther on his own with barely any good reign feuds to have, no backup guy to sit there and do the extra better talking because Ludwig's a better talker than Gunther. Ludwig's just more charismatic. And then you've left him here and you've given him nothing to work with. This reign isn't Gunther's fault. I think Gunther's done everything he can with this reign. On this one, I'm blaming this on the writing, this whole reign. I would think a better story for Gunther is let's see what he looks like when he is chasing but failing to capture. Let's see him without a title for a year or two and miss having him as a champion.
Maybe people would actually start to like him better. I fucking hate him when he has a title.
I love him when I love him when he's a champion. Just not this championship.
He's been waiting for a while. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I think one of the big problems with Gunther is the fact that he spent 75% of his fucking career as champion. So what the fuck are you supposed to do with him after? Like there's nothing else for him to do. You know what I mean? Like, Triple H basically gifted him the world title, if we're being honest. He gifted him the King of the Ring spot, if we're being honest. Because this man is gifted championship opportunities. And I'm sorry to say this, but he was gifted this world title just for him to be involved in this Judgment Day business when he didn't need to be. And then on top of that, barely did anything for over, like, what was it, 2-3 months or some shit? I barely even remember anything that he fucking did. And the only time that it's gotten interesting is when he's having this feud with Jey Uso. Like, that's the only time that it's gotten interesting. And the same complaint can go to Cody Rhodes. If we're being honest, he hasn't had a good title reign. Because the only time it got interesting was when he was going up against Kevin Owens.
Yeah, we'll see if you guys keep that. We'll see if you guys keep that same energy if Jey Uso wins the fucking world heavyweight title.
Yeah,
I would like to
Roman Reigns.
I would like to note something as well to what BT said because BT made a great point.
Yeah, really quick
before
we get out of here.
That's fine, but BT also made a great point, and I want to hammer it home. What do you do with him after? Because you can't put him on some kind of losing streak. What do? Make him a main attraction like you did Brock Lesnar, where you make him just an attraction wrestler like Punk or Rollins, who barely wrestle unless it's a big event, or Roman? Or do you have him go for mid-card titles again? Like, if he loses, what are his stories supposed to be? Just main event chasing and failing because they're going to give other guys opportunities? You almost, the suffrage from Gunther's character being a champion, the majority of his career in WWE, is that they have forced him to a peak. He has peaked. And that is the problem here. He's peaked as a champion because at least, not as a talent, but as a champion, he's peaked. There's no other good, interesting stories to tell because they moved all the interesting stories to SmackDown, or the other interesting stories are interlocked in other feuds. So if he goes into other feuds, they've got to be good feuds without a title. Him versus Punk without a title. Him versus Roman without a title. Him versus Jacob Fatu. Like, we're going to have to see feuds with him involved without a championship that are engaging and incredible matches, which we know he's capable of putting on. But the problem is, if he loses at Mania, what do you do to his character? Because they were so afraid after they took the title off him at Mania last year. They made him take a 2-month fucking break, and they immediately threw his ass in the King of the Ring because, we've got to give him some more credibility again. Like, And they're like, once he did that, now we got to give him a world title to keep his credibility and momentum running. So what are you going to do now? If they take it off in the Mania, another month, 2 month break, you can have him win King of the Ring or defend his King of the Ring title again, have him win Money in the Bank and cash in. Like, what do you do with him? And that's the problem. They book themselves into a corner with his character by having him be champion too often for too long. And people have grown stale on him.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, you guys. Well, that was it for us today. For when it comes to Gunther and Jey Uso, let's make it more interesting, shall we? We'll see what happens. We got 22 days as of today, when we're recording, until WrestleMania. We're gonna see what happens with Jimmy Uso on Monday Night Raw. By the time this comes out, Monday Night Raw will probably be said and done with, but it's all good. We'll see if anything that we say comes true. Thanks, fellas. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for everyone that was listening, watching, commenting, and all that good stuff. Leave a star rating, leave a review. My name is Edgar. I'm the